Have you ever experienced a God wink? You know, the kind of experience you know without a shadow of a doubt that God stepped in and gave you a big old wink from heaven. I'm your host, Cindy Spar, broadcasting from Office Evolution in Troy, Michigan. I am a firm believer that there is power in sharing God wink stories. Think of it as a way for people to shine their light on Jesus, one wink at a time. In Matthew 5:14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." Welcome back, listeners, to the Godwink Podcast. I'm your host, Cindy Spar, coming to you live from Office Evolution, Troy, in Michigan. And they did a little facelift to their studio. So I encourage you, if you have not been to Office Evolution's podcast studio in a bit, you should take a tour. Get a hold of April at the front desk. I know Colleen or even her husband Brandon would love to have you check it out if you're considering starting a podcast or you currently do a podcast. Now that is the 60-second commercial for Office Evolution. Anyways, so I am sitting pretty here with Cassie, and I hope I say your last name, Mainero?
Yeah, you got it. My Italian family will be very happy. You got it right.
I passed the test. You know, usually a host prepares for that ahead of time, but I always think I could just say it quickly and maybe no one will notice. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But so we have been focusing on a homeschooling series, and oddly enough, it was over like a 2-week time frame where people were coming in either saying, yeah, out of nowhere, I'm thinking about transitioning my kids from public schools to homeschools. And then I met you, Cassie, and I was like, you're developing curriculum? Like, how perfect is that? So I want to just do a quick introduction so our listeners know a little bit about you, Cassie. So you are the owner of Storybloom Creative. Yes. And former middle school English language arts teacher that turned Instagram gal and curriculum writer. I like that. Over the last few years, God shifted you out from public schools and led you to start creating your own wave of educational resources for the purposes of homeschool, extracurricular, or summertime learning. You aim to provide wholesome resources to help the students and families bloom in creativity, storytelling, and writing skills, while also creating meaningful family moments. You love making learning joyful, meaningful, imaginative, and artistic.
That's right. I forgot that I wrote that. So it really sounds amazing.
It does. You know, your wording and everything is just so intricate. So tell our listeners, who are you outside of your biz?
Yeah, I'm a big crafter. I'm a crafty. I have been since I was little. I have sang at church for a long time. This is probably like my first time pausing, and I haven't probably sang in a few years, and that's because I started a business, and I didn't realize how much time and effort it takes into doing such things. But yeah, I come from a really big Italian family. I also have to shout out to my mom's Polish side because she'll probably be mad if I don't mention them. So
wait a minute. You said Italian.
I'm Italian.
Were you at the cultural?
No, I was not.
I didn't even know it existed, and then I attended it last weekend, and I ate all the Italian foods.
Yeah, so I'm part Italian, half Polish. And what's funny is that All me and my cousins are half Italian and half Polish because all of my dad's brothers married Polish women. So,
were they all friends or
no? That was
what?
Yeah, my grandparents are. My grandpa's still alive. He's 92, and they grew up in Detroit, and so that was a big Polish Italian culture back then. So. In the 30s. In the
30s. Oh my goodness.
So yeah, which I'm finding is starting to be a little bit more rare. I'm like a later millennial, so
I've never even heard it said that way.
So that's my family's gonna laugh at this. I did not know.
What makes you a lighter millennial?
A later one. So like so like all the I'm finding that there's not as many, like, I don't know, this is just me. I'm not finding as many people that have that kind of like cultural root as I do.
Listen, I graduated in 2001, so I barely made it in. I always say that. Born in 82, so I'm barely making the millennials.
So yeah, that's me kind of in a nutshell. Yeah, I taught in middle school, for about 6.5 years, and then God kind of shifted me out and I worked at my church for a little while, worked at a nonprofit, and then God was like, it's time to start your business.
Wow. So what nonprofit were you?
I actually worked at this I loved this nonprofit. If I could have stayed there a little while longer, I would have. But it was just time to start. God was already shifting me to the next thing. So it was called Read for a Child. I absolutely loved it. It's a nationwide program. They don't even know I'm doing a shout out for them now, but they were the sweetest nonprofit. It was basically all about bringing literacy to kids that maybe didn't have the same kind of literacy that other kids did. So they would have, I was a coordinator, and I would coordinate a literacy program in a library of a Pontiac school. And and then I would just have volunteers from the community come in, and they would get partnered with a kid, and they would read a book during their lunch hour. And that was it. That was literally the program. It was the most sweetest, wholesome program. I loved it. If I could have stayed a little bit longer, it would have been great. But yeah, God was moving me to the next thing. So
I bet you there was a lot of authors probably that volunteered, huh? Maybe.
They would. It was also like that time period was also, we were still kind of in the pandemic, and so it was virtual, but they would have authors like during the pandemic like come on and do virtual things.
Wow.
Yeah, I was only there, I think I was there 1.5 years, maybe just under 2 years, and so I don't remember exactly, but I remember they had lots of like author sponsorship because it's a nationwide program. They had in Florida, they had, it was big in the Boston area, big in LA, and then Michigan, it was like just a little small pocket of like the Detroit area.
I thought for a minute you were going to say an organization, Love for a Child. Have you heard of them?
Oh, no, I have not. No.
Yeah, they do like these summer camps. They're actually getting ready. I think it's like next week.
Okay.
Where kids like that have went through foster care and just have had a really rough start at life. They make them feel like a kid again. Like they bring them in and they have this camp where they can just feel the love and Christian based.
Okay.
So. Okay. Yeah.
No, I have not heard of that.
Well, we're doing a couple plugs today.
We didn't even know we were going to do
I know, right? So share a little bit. Then everyone's got God wink moments, divine moments where God showed up. Would you share with us a little bit?
Yeah. So there's been a lot, but the one that I would say is like a running one is really me starting this business. Storybloom Creative. I did not go to school for business. I do not have any training in it whatsoever. Of course. I sometimes feel like I know nothing. But I remember sitting in my classroom, probably the last few years of being in my classroom, I was doing my master's. I didn't even know that I wanted to do my master's, but my boss at the time kept pushing me like, no, just do it when you're in your early 20s and you'll get it done and over with and you'll be happy. Mm-hmm. And And the district that I was in, this is probably a big God wink, was that I worked in a public school, and my master's was pretty much mostly paid for,
Nice.
which never ever happens. But they were trying to get retention for the teachers that were teaching there at the time, the younger ones, because there was a lot of turnover in the district I was in. So they offered this program that whoever went to school, there was this big pot of money held by the union, and then you would submit your schooling for the end of the year, and then however many people went to school, they would divvy up that money. And so I think I had probably good 85% of my master's paid for in a public school district, which I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
So that's one big one. But then, so I would sit in my classroom after school and just kind of dream about all the things I wanted to do, and I was very artistic and very creative, and would always sit in my classroom, and I would be exhausted at the end of the day, and I would be like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this kind of job, which happens to a lot of teachers. And I was like, God, what am I going to do later on in life? Because it just is a very taxing job. And so I, through all that, I was on Pinterest, of all places, and I was pinning things, and I was looking at
a true teacher's resource,
which is I was called, when I was teaching, I was called the Pinterest queen, because my entire classroom looked like it. And that was what year would that have been? I started teaching in 2012. I had my very first classroom. I had graduated in 2010, but I didn't get my first real job I was a long-term sub for a couple of years, and then got my first real job in 2012. But so I was sitting in the classroom pinning things, because I was about 4 or 5 years in. I was exhausted, and I just kept pinning business things. And and so my 5th year of teaching, I finished my master's, and I did this really cool project that I called the Garden Project. And all of my kids' language arts stuff was all we basically made this entire classroom, and then we made it into a big garden, but it was with all of their work. And it was all over the walls, and I would just tell somebody about it, and mind you, I worked in a district that didn't have a whole lot of resources, so I would tell a parapro about what I was doing. She'd be like, "Oh my gosh, let me bring you." She would bring me her stuff, her construction paper from home, and markers and stuff from the dollar store, and things and so every time I kept moving forward with this big project, I was it just naturally handed in. And I still have kids that loved being in that classroom and in that space, and we kind of called it the Storybloom classroom at the after it was all over. So then as time went on, I ended up having to leave the classroom for some personal reasons, but and then I worked at my church for a little while, and then did the nonprofit. But at 2020, a couple of years right after I left the nonprofit, I was like, guess what? It's time to start your business. And I had no idea what to do, but I just kept feeling in my heart, I think I just need to do it now.
It's almost your window is open.
Yeah, because I had left the nonprofit. I was just I didn't really know how I wanted to start Storybloom Creative. I had no clue how I wanted to do it, but I have some very specific moments that happened in the very early stages, and I still feel like I'm in the beginning, because I still really don't always know what I'm doing, but I just keep creating stuff, and things keep still falling into place, even though I don't really know what the outcome is going to be.
Is it almost like people that write books where you go through seasons of creativity?
Yes.
Where it's like in pockets, you're like, oh, this and this and this. And then sometimes there's dry seasons.
Yes. That's actually exactly what has happened. It's actually almost exactly what has happened, because I will say, like, this year I haven't, back up. I started doing copywriting and learned how to do that, which is a little bit different than just like English language arts when you have to write professionally, like academically. And so I had to kind of learn how I bought some classes on Udemy and just things that would kind of help me with copywriting. And I followed people on Instagram and just like looked and see what they did. And then so I was like, God, I have this idea. I want to use this name, Storybloom Classroom. Well, I ended up changing it to Storybloom Creative because it made more sense with what I was doing now. Yeah. And but I was like, God, I really don't know. Like, how do I do this? Like, I don't know. So I ended up, I had a bad back problem for a little while and had to do physical therapy. And so I was in physical therapy, and I would go to the gym and work out, and got to know people at this gym that I work out at, which I could even shout out to them too, because they're I still go there, and I still have family there. I feel like I have family there now. So, and I remember, I was like, God, if I just had, like, if you could just give me, like, this is the teacher and me talking, like, if you could just give me, like, is there a step-by-step plan on how to start a business?
Can I have access to your blueprint, please?
Because then I will do, like, I can do it. I can execute it. I can do it. I walk into the gym one day, and I remember I have a lot of good friends there now, and I remember talking to this one a gentleman and his daughter. They would always come in and work out together, and he ended up like being on the treadmill next to me sometimes. We just struck up a conversation. He's like, "Oh, what do you do for work?" And I was like, "I'm kind of in. This is what's happening. I really have all these ideas and things like that." And he's like, "Well, here's what you do. You just get your LLC, you get an EIN number, and then you go to the bank and set up a bank account for your business." And I was like, okay. And he was like, write that down on your phone. And I literally
At least he kept it to 3 basic steps.
And I literally went and ran and got my phone, typed it down. Yeah. And I was like, okay, this is what I got answered
your
my
answer.
Prayer. It was literally
I'll give you 3 at a time.
It was literally exactly what I needed, like the step-by-step little chunk. Wow. And I actually even think before he told me the LLC, I had went out, like I had went out to lunch with a friend too, like maybe like a week or two before. And I was like, I'd known her for a little while, and we had sang worship leading before. And she just invited me out to lunch, and I was like, I think it's time. Like, I think God's telling me to do this. And she was like, okay, well, here's the form that you just fill out online for your LLC. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to
It's like he's gifting you people.
Yeah, yes. That I feel like that is the God wink for me, is that he just keeps fulfilling, like, his promises of, like, no, you're supposed to do this. I just need to... You're just gonna have all these people, like they're my people, and they're gonna come to you, and they're gonna give you the information that I need you to have, so that you can do my work. Yeah. And
did these people know about your prayer?
No.
Like, did you ever tell them? You never told them? Like, oh my gosh, I prayed.
I think I may have. Like, I you know what? Because this was already a couple of years ago now, so I don't know if I ever actually did. If I do, maybe I should say something like, I don't even know if you knew this, but I had no clue what I was doing, and I needed that. Yeah. I don't know.
Because some people don't realize how they're being used.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the full picture.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a good question. I should think about that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I always think, because we move so fast, right? Like, things happen, we get God winks, and we're like, oh my gosh, what an answer to prayer. And it's like, imagine if we all circled back on stuff that is being prayed for, how much more encouraged we would be to pray.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you feel like the prayer goes like, where's it going? Did it get lost in the cloud? Like, am I being heard?
Yeah. So then what happened is I had the step-by-step plan now to get to open this business, and my aunt has I'm gonna cry about my aunt, so just give me a minute, but
it's hard to keep it together on the God wink.
So I told my aunt, like, I think I need to do this, and my aunt was like, well, I'll go to the bank with you.
Aww.
I'll go sit with you, and like, because I was like, am I just gonna go by myself to the bank and hear all this information and stuff like that? So she came and she sat next to me and listened to all the banking information, and I told her she's like my silent partner, because like I don't know. I feel like sometimes you feel like you're doing stuff by yourself, but you're really not. You're always with God. He's always bringing you your people. He's always bringing you your family to help you and have your back. And so literally it gets better, because I went with my aunt and we opened my bank account, and then that night, so for months I had been updating my LinkedIn and updating things, and like
all the stuff you got to update.
On LinkedIn, getting 500 followers on LinkedIn, and I didn't even know really what I was doing. I was messaging people and contacting people, and I would have lots of really cool things happen even from that. I remember I had this one person that I would always write, like, I'm a former teacher, switching career paths and going into copywriting. And I had people that like came out of the woodwork that wanted to help teachers, which was amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
It was absolutely amazing. And they would have like a Zoom call with me, and they would, we would talk, and I would get advice, and they would tell me things that I didn't know that I even needed advice for. So then the day that I went to go set up my business bank account, I later on that evening, I was just checking my email. I had a business email that I had also made, because I figured, well, if I'm going to have a business, I better have a business email. And I didn't even know that anyone had my business email. And I get an email from this lady who I did not even recognize, but she was like, hey, I hear you're a freelance writer, and I'm going to need some copywriting work. Do you want to help my freelance team? And I was like, what? Like,
wow.
So it was like that same day. And then like I look and I'm like, how did she even find me? Like she was from, I don't even know what state she was in. Either she might have been in Wisconsin or something. I was like, how did this lady even find me? Well, I had been doing, like, months prior, I had been networking with like old family friends, and my mom would tell me to email this person. They're a copywriter, or they do writing for work, and email this person. And so it ended up that, like, it was a friend of a friend of a friend
wow.
that got my name, and it just so happened that God was like, see,
wink, wink.
I need you to just keep doing this. So, yeah, I will say that, I still, like, everyone's like, I'm not really where I want to be in my business. That's kind of how I feel most of the time. But I think it's been over a year. I think it's been about a year and a half. I did start, God started telling me to start an Instagram too. And so I started there, and I had no idea what to post. And I just was like, I'll just start posting Bible verses, because I can make them pretty on Canva, and I can...
At least you followed a rhythm. Don't look at mine. Mine is a hodgepodge.
And so I was like, okay, I'll just start. Well, I end up posting, I tried to come up with like a game plan for Instagram and things like that. And I just started posting things about, some of my educational stuff and I would post like scriptures on Monday, and I would post something inspirational on Tuesday, and I would do a journal prompt on Wednesday, and I just started creating stuff. And
is it like you were creating even a rhythm for yourself so that you would kind of get into it?
Yeah, I kind of would. And what slowly happened is I went from 0 followers to, I think I checked, but I'll be honest, I've been a little stagnant on there just the last couple months because of just some life things happening and moving and all this stuff.
Hey, if you've got 2, you're doing great.
I went up to like 800. I think I'm at 869.
Wow.
And it fluctuates. And
I don't even think I'm up that high.
So I'm like, I don't know how
What, you focus on growth?
Yeah.
So, Cassie, I have to ask you this question. You went through going and getting your master's degree, right? You finished that off.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this. Were you excited to go back for a master's degree, or were you like, ugh, I don't really want to do this?
Oh, gosh. I will be flat honest. I had a 5-year undergrad program at Rochester College at the time, and it was a hard program, and I did not want to go back to school.
You weren't a lifer?
No, I was a teacher that loved learning, but I did not. After that, I was so excited to just be in a classroom, have my own space, start decorating, do all the Pinteresty teacher things. And that's actually, a really good point. I did not want to go back to school. I did not. But like I said earlier, like my boss just kept saying like, you'll do it. We have this program that we're doing this year with the union. So just do it. And,
did you battle it out with the Lord on that or no?
Honestly, it was so long ago, I don't really remember fully, but I just was like, well, I don't know, in teachers, like if you get more education, you end up getting a pay bump. So like that was also an incentive, to do that. But I've always been like a super big prayer journaler anyways. I think I might have said that earlier, but, and I have journals upon journals of,
that's awesome.
Prayer journals. As I started into it, and I realized like it was going to be mostly paid for. I was like, you know what, Lord, I really don't want to do this, but I will. I do want to I will dedicate this to you. Then, like I just felt after journaling and praying about it, I just felt like okay, like I will put my whole heart into it. Then. And like it. To be honest, like I am now glad that I did it because it made me into a better teacher. I understood the kids that I had a lot more at an in-depth level because the program that I had a lot of classes. It was a curriculum and instructional program through Concordia University. And all my education was Christian-based, so I always had embedded Christian values in my classroom anyways. And I just went ahead and I remember sitting in. I feel like I'm rambling, but I remember sitting in doing a journal or journaling and having to do lots of papers. And I just said, "Okay, God, like I'm just gonna dedicate this to you." Then, like, and you do what you want with it, but. Like that's when I did the garden classroom, and that's where I got my Storybloom name. And then like it all just kind of like fit together. And right after I graduated is when I did that big classroom project, and it just it just made my teaching
even better.
Yeah, which
it's all worth it in the end.
It's an education, so it should.
Yeah,
it should do that.
I guess
right?
you're always developing too in your skill set. I remember you shared that it involved fruits of the spirit.
Yes. Yes.
So I thought that was really cool that you're like, you don't have to like totally scream like scripture at people.
Yeah. No,
like,
you don't. No.
Can you kind of share how you?
Yeah, I did. So I had a lot of the rules in my classroom were like love, joy, and peace. But I had this really that last year that I was finishing in my master's, I found this like stick-on wall tree that was like a wall decal that you'd probably put in your bedroom or something like that, or a kid would put in their bedroom. But it made up the entire wall, and but it was just. I might have got it at a garage sale or a dollar store. I don't know. It was like it wasn't the full thing, so it was just the brown like tree trunk and the branches. That's all it was.
Oh, that's cool.
But like
someone stole the leaves.
Yes, exactly. And
leave it to the garage sale.
Every season, it's exactly. I honestly have no clue where.
I might have even to the garage sale. You get that? No
yes,
pun intended.
Yes. I might have even found it in the school somewhere that like I would go rummaging in like old office.
Take the scraps.
Yeah, yeah, in old like back rooms and stuff like that for my classroom. But yeah, I would put like the kids would decorate it every season, and then we would put like positive words on it. But I always made sure that it was like. I always made sure when I would add on, and then I would put like love and joy and peace, and it would be like the kids would have vocabulary words, and they would put the words on the leaves, and it was all made out of construction paper. And then in the fall we did apples, and then like the leaves would change, and the leaves would come off, and then they would be golden and brown.
So that was perfect that the leaves weren't on it.
Yes, yeah, it was the perfect. Yeah, it was perfect.
And you led the way with like. Yeah. Lead them as they should go. You know what I mean? Because if you're just like, who wants to start us out? It could get a little wild.
Yes.
Yes. I don't want to forget to ask, what is your like grade level that you're looking to build the curriculum along?
So that's a good question. So I have been building curriculum now and making it all on Canva. I've been building it probably for like the last year or so. And I kind of started out with like younger and middle grades, and then started branching into high school. But pretty much all of the stuff that I have has it's like segmented. Like there's stuff for little kids, there's stuff for middle grades, and then there's stuff for high schoolers. I will say I probably have as of right now, I probably have the like more limited stuff for the older grades, but I would say I taught middle school, so I feel like most of my stuff is more in the 10 to 12 age bracket, but I do have stuff that is for younger kids too.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
You had summer even stuff, extracurricular kind of things. That's really cool.
Yeah, I just finished. Yeah, and am I allowed to say this too? Am I plug for?
Yeah.
I've been figuring out how to put stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers, and then this other website I have called Kajabi, and then I also have I just started like uploading them onto Amazon so they can buy hard copy, because most of the stuff I have is digital.
Yeah.
If it's on Teachers Pay Teachers or Kajabi. But I just figured out how to get it uploaded onto Amazon now. So now,
awesome.
And I just finished my fall journal.
Nice.
I have one that's like it's for elementary, middle, and high school, and it's all fall based with pumpkins and things like that. But there is a hint of like mystery too, like in some of the older grades. So they're getting asked. Oh, it's all journaling. Journaling for this one, it's all about the 5 senses and creative descriptive writing and enhancing that. So
that's fun.
Yeah. So
even with your timeline, it's like we're already.
I know.
What are we 2 days out from August?
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're going to be launching off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So my goal was to be to do it before the school year starts, and so we're on track still for August. So
wow.
Yeah, and it'll probably be right when this podcast airs.
Pretty much, listeners.
And that's another God wink in and of itself, because I just, the fact that it's kind of all coming together, like it took me a long time to create everything. It took me a long time to work on getting all the Kajabi set up, and then also putting things on to onto Teachers Pay Teachers, and then it also is another layer to put on, because you have to. I've been spending, I feel like hours just reformatting everything, because Kindle Direct Publishing has a different formatting
Oh my goodness.
than the digital. And you also have to create your own covers and everything too.
Just think
everything.
once it's set, it's like residual, or it's there, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that now I'm getting like teary-eyed thinking about it, because if I look back and I say to myself, like, I really did not want to do my master's. Like, once I did it, I started enjoying it, and I started really, I worked with a lot of different kids that were from a lot of different cultures and a lot of different economic levels too. And so I remember I took this one class that really just helped me understand kids that did not look like me, kids that didn't think like me, kids that didn't grow up like me. But it really solidified a lot of things, and that some of the things that I learned in my master's is universal also for all kids. And so being able to have that background, and God being like, no, you still need to use this.
Yeah.
You were I feel like he gave me a really precious gift to be able to give to other people, because education is so important, and it's, I think, very taken for granted sometimes, just because we live in America, and we have public schools that bring so much joy, and we have, charter schools and private schools, and we have homeschooling now. Homeschooling's been around for so many years.
Yeah.
But it, I based my educational portfolio on something that, and all teachers take foundational education classes. So we learn about all the different foundational teachers that came up with the philosophies and came up with the instructions way before all of us. And so Maria Montessori was one of the people that had that, she's the one that all the Montessori schools are also based off of. So
gotcha.
And her philosophies are different than a lot of other people's, but she had this quote that even in my undergrad and then in my master's, I always clung to this one quote that she had, and it says, "The purpose of an education is to give life and leave it free to develop." And so that has always clung with me, because when you're in education and you educate a child, it's giving them opportunity, which is what they want. I think we talked about a little while ago about how it's teaching kids to be innovators and creatives and artists and all these things that God made them to be, and it's bringing them life and giving them all these opportunities. And that's why I think education is so important, and it's fun to create it too.
Yeah.
So, and
you're instilling, because there's so much technology at our fingertips, and technology can be used in a positive way when not allowing it to take over completely.
Right.
So it does allow you to be creative, but also being careful of allowing God to work that creativity through you. And as kids, you got to set a foundation, because the world's going to tell them, just let this create it for you. And it's like,
Right.
to an extent, like, God is our ultimate creator. So it's like teaching the kids that, like, God has created you to be innovative, to be creative. So why not instill that at a young age?
Right. With color and markers.
Yeah.
Scissors and glue and
So
hands-on
funny.
learning. Hands-on learning is so important for young kids too. I think we just don't even know what the fine motor skills are needing, and like all that good stuff. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so wrap us up. I always say, how can our listeners connect with you? Do you have like contact, social media? What is it?
Well, Instagram is where I'm at.
Surprise!
Yeah, Instagram's where I'm at. It's just at Storybloom Creative. That's the Instagram. That's my main way. I also use email. It's just cassandra.storybloom@gmail.com. Those are my main ways of getting a hold of me. And you can find my stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers. I will have a link on my Instagram to my Kajabi. And then you can also find me on Amazon too. And and I have so all my stuff that's on Kajabi and Teachers Pay Teachers is all digital, and then it's ready to go. It just comes straight to your inbox and you hit print. But there are people that want the hard copy, and they don't want to have to do all that. So I have all the booklets made into Amazon versions, and then they print it for you, and it just gets
Easy
shipped to you.
peasy.
So
That's awesome.
yeah. So that's one. Yeah, that's really. It's pretty cool.
So before I close this out, do you have like a favorite scripture?
I do. I have a couple. Romans 8:28 is always one of my favorite ones, because I feel like God can do anything and bring it for His glory. So,
Amen.
yeah, He can do anything. It doesn't matter if it's education, it doesn't matter if it's your career. It doesn't matter if it's a personal thing. It doesn't matter if it's, trying to think of different topics, but He can make all things work for His good. So
Reminds me of you going back to school.
yes.
I bet you there are listeners that have been in a spot where they're like, Lord, I don't really want to do it. And He's like, I've called you to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right? Like, it's like, just do what Dad says and you'll see His glory come through. It'll be worth it. Might not be so hard in the end.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the God Wing podcast, Cassie. It has been an utter joy, not once, but twice.
Yes. I know.
Listeners, if today's God Wink podcast really resonates with you, or you think it'll resonate with one of your fellow friends or family members, please do share today's episode with them. Sharing is caring. And last but not least, we are always looking for more guests to be on the God Wink podcast. So feel free to visit our website at thegodwinkpodcast.com to apply and share your God Wink story. Other than that, be blessed, and we look forward to having you listen in on the next God Wink. I want to give a big thank you to Office Evolution Troy for providing their podcast studio for us this afternoon to record. If you have any questions or you would like to book your own time in their podcast studio, give them a call at 586-788-9966. If today's God Wink story really hit home with you, we would love to hear about it through the God Wink community on Facebook. If you know of someone that needs to hear today's God Wink story, show them some love and tag them on the God Wink podcast. You never know how a God Wink story might change their day around for the better. If you or someone you know has a God Wink story that the world needs to hear, we want to hear it. Simply click the link within the podcast notes to send in your God Wink story. Until next time, remember, God's got you. Wink, wink.